Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast, episode 72. Guys, today we are here with some very special guests. We have Mr. Daniel, aka Flash Freak. Daniel, how's it going today?
It's going good.
And we are here with our co host again this month. Thank you, Connor, for being here. Connor, how are you today?
What up? What up? I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You only took a week off, but it felt like a whole month. So have you back here.
I was like, I don't know anything about what they're talking about. I'm a skedaddle.
And yet it was our most popular episode, so I don't know what that
It's like, all right, well, I'll hit it then. I'll get out of here. All right. Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. But
oh no. But yeah, no, happy February 1st. It happened to land on the first of the month. Last month actually went really slow in my opinion. Like it seemed to just like drag on for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's kind of crazy. But it is the month of love, and I was like, hey, the paragon of love. I don't know what else. I don't know what better you can
get. That was him, wasn't it?
Yep, I totally did that on purpose. That didn't just come to me like yesterday. But today, it's been actually it's going on close to a year now since the Flash kind of wrapped up. What's been 7, 8 months since it all wrapped up. It finished. It kind of ended off the Arrowverse, if you will. So I thought it'd be really fun to dive into some of our favorite moments from the Flash. Now, Flash is a show that I really, really love sometimes. It's also a show that it bugs me a little bit. It's, it can sometimes not be the greatest at times, but I'm very excited to celebrate the good things and some of the best moments from the show. Daniel, you love the Flash. It's one of your favorite shows, right?
It is my favorite show.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I really am. It's still like I think no matter kind of how long it takes, I think it will probably forever be my favorite show just because of how much time I put into that show and how much of my life I spent like obsessing over what's going to happen next. And Connor, I think you're very similar with like Arrow and like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Arrow's kind of to me what Flash is to you guys for sure. I've such a love-hate relationship with Flash. Like, but when it's good, it's so good. Like it's some of the best superhero television ever.
Yeah, that was very apparent when you sent in the pics that you had for years. I was like, oh, this is really funny. I love this so much. It's very Connor coded.
Yeah. Sorry in advance.
What do you mean? This is on it. No, it's totally fine. I thought it was really funny. But yeah, we're gonna be getting into some of our news stories. We have a lot to talk about today. We're gonna be skipping our question this week because there was so much to talk about. But yeah, let's just jump into some news stories. First one. Was not expecting this one this week. Despicable Me 4 put out its first trailer, getting ready for its summer release. Start with Flash Freak. Flash Freak, are you a fan of this franchise at all? Is this
I haven't seen. I think I saw the third one just because.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I think someone wanted to go to the theater and I was there, so I was like, all right, I'll just tag along. But no, other than that, I'm not really a fan. I mean, when I was a kid, I watched like the first one.
Okay.
And maybe the second one, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. This is a really weird franchise to me because, I'll be honest, I am a pretty big fan of this franchise. Like these were movies I did grow up on quite a bit. They were pretty big. Like, I think when I was growing up is like when they were like at their height. Like Despicable Me 2 especially is like, that's all anyone was talking about. Like it was like the biggest franchise. And it still is. Like those little guys make so much money for them. There's been 4 of these now. There's been 2 spin-offs. There's like shorts and there's toys and specials. And like, this has become gross to be such a massive franchise and such a massive thing. And the internet's kind of gone a little wild over this trailer. Connor, are you a fan of this franchise at all? Are you
I saw the first one around when it came out, and that's it. I haven't seen the trailer for this. I haven't seen the other films. I haven't seen anything else, and I can't remember a whole lot from the first one either.
Sure. That's fair. That's fair. This is definitely very different than what we typically talk about. But I was like, this is one of the big news stories of the week. I would like to at least mention it. And yeah, I'll watch it. And I think these are the type of films where, again, I think you either love these movies or kind of hate these movies. I think kind of sit on one side of the fence. And I think I think I'm kind of at a point where like 3, I was like, all right, this is this isn't good. This is garbage and stuff like that. And like I feel like by the time the fourth one's out, it's like, you know what, this is fun. Screw it. Just have fun with this one. It's a fun kids movie with these little annoying characters. It's fun. And I do really love the like internet's I love the internet so much because of what they focused on, like what they choose to focus on. It's like, oh, not that there's a new one. It's like, no, Gru has had sex in this. This is crazy, guys. That's what people are. Or the fact that like he has a new baby, but like his other 3 children hasn't grown in the last 10 years of these films. And I just love the internet at points. Do we have any thoughts on any of this, or is there anything else that like we would like to add?
When's it come out?
July. So
Okay.
blockbuster season. Deadpool 3, watch out.
Well, like,
Oh
new
yeah.
film's gonna beat you.
Yeah. Oh man, this summer is going to be packed. I think
Yeah,
March and like
sure.
July. I think are 2 very packed months.
Yeah.
March especially. I can't wait till March. Bunch of fun stuff then.
Dude,
Alrighty.
let's go.
Moving on, we have our new Supergirl. Connor, this is a story that we covered last time 2 weeks ago, and this thing has moved along a lot quicker than our Superman, our Lois Lanes, and especially Lex Luthor. Like it felt like we were waiting like almost a year to get Lex Luthor.
Crazy fast.
Is this like? Are you happy with this ultimate go? Like, are you happy with what we ended up getting here?
I'm very happy. I think it's a really good casting. I think for the kind of Supergirl they're going for, I think this works. I mean, like we obviously haven't seen it yet, but based off House of the Dragon and stuff, I think this is really good casting. I'm not convinced she's in Superman Legacy just yet. I feel like if it was for Superman Legacy, Gunn might be saying already it's for Superman Legacy. I feel like it's definitely for a film before Supergirl, but I'm not sure if it's Superman Legacy or it's a project after Superman Legacy before Supergirl. Yeah. And I think that's probably more likely. Because I know Superman Legacy is already packed enough. I feel like, I don't know if I'd want to throw Supergirl in there as well.
I'd kind of rather if she wasn't. I'd kind of rather if they just kept her, like, waited a while. Like, especially with where her movie goes. Because I feel like if she is in the movie, then her film has to be a prequel, which I think could be slightly confusing.
That's true as well. I didn't really think of that. I just think it's like as well, it's her debut should be very much like a, oh my god, this is Supergirl sort of thing. Whereas if you're putting it in Superman Legacy where you've already got a ton of other heroes who need to get there, oh my god, look who it is moment. I feel like there isn't enough room for a Supergirl debut scene to really breathe on its own. Whereas you put her in another film, it works better. Yeah.
Really post-credit scene could work.
Yeah.
And like James is, I think he's being very coy, and I think he does this a lot. But like, they're like they, you know, like someone was asking like, oh, like where are they going to fit into like the movie? And he's like, I never said she was in the movie, like he's done with like Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I was like, that makes me think she actually is in the movie.
She could be, yeah, she could be.
Yeah.
Like he maybe would have come out and been like, no, she's not in it, if she definitely wasn't in it, sort of thing.
Yeah. Daniel, you're a big fan of the Flash movie as well, and you know we had a version of this character over in that movie. Are you mad that she's not coming back, or are you happy with this casting?
I am very happy with this casting. I think it would have been good either way with her or with Millie or Meg, but I definitely think Millie was the right choice. And at the end of the day, even if I didn't, like, I trust James Gunn. So, but I have not seen House of Dragons yet, and that's just because I haven't seen Game of Thrones yet. I'm on
that's valid.
Season 2 still. But I'm thinking about watching House of Dragons just because it's shorter and so I can see Millie acting. But but yeah, it should seem really good. She actually really looks like that cover on Woman of Tomorrow, the comic book cover. Yeah. She's a pretty accurate, casting. So
yeah, I agree.
House of the Dragon was such a weird one because I binged all of Game of Thrones getting ready for
I remember that. You were like going through them like crazy.
Yeah, and then I never finished the show. Like I never finished the House of Dragon. I didn't end up finishing the series. So it's like, that was kind of for nothing. But I'll hopefully be there when season 2 is ready.
Yeah, I think season 2 is summer this year.
Yep, coming up. Yeah. Let's talk to some chat really quick. Robert in the house. Robert, how's it going? Robert says, whoa, how did Daniel invade the stream? I mean, he pulled up and he put out his gun. And I was like, whoa, man, I don't know what to What's happened,
Let
man?
him in.
No, I didn't pull out a gun. I vibrated my hand. And
Oh yeah.
Oh. Marnie Moose is in the house. Marnie, how's it going, buddy? Hope you're doing well. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Liam is in the house. Liam, how are you, man? I would love to get you on here at some point. We have to do it at some point. It's great to see you. But yeah, I mean, I like Meg. There was a part of me that did kind of want Meg, purely because she was the one I knew the most out of all of those actresses. Like I knew her as Mary, and I knew her from like Disney Channel days and stuff like that. But I do think Millie was ultimately the best choice out of these. And he had even said that like he kind of knew that he wanted her out of all this, like since House of the Dragon was on, like he saw her like, oh, that's Supergirl, and I think that. Sorry.
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I imagine he's going to be doing that a lot. Like, I bet he has people in mind that he wants going forward for these big projects. Like, I would not be shocked if he already knows who he wants for his Batman or his,
I'd say so, yeah.
Wonder Woman or all that kind of stuff. So
I don't know if we'll bring this up, but James Gunn has said that this will be a more edgy Supergirl.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of the reason why he picked Millie over Meg, because I've never seen House of Dragons, but I assume she's supposed to be like a badass in that show, right? So
fully, yes. Yeah, no, and again, I think all of those different actors could have done that, but I like when you look at her role in that show, it is very apparent why they wanted her for that. Like I feel like put that her character in that show like on a cape and it's like, oh yeah, that's Supergirl. Like that's especially with the version of Supergirl that they're going for, this kind of like warrior princess type vibe that they're giving her. I think she's trying to kill it. I don't know. There is something also very beautiful of just kind of seeing the whole universe like come together slowly.
Yeah,
like,
it's exciting. It feels like an event. It
really does. Like we have a giant like puzzle and we're slowly putting a piece in. And I feel like this was the one officially where I'm able to look out a little bit and like, whoa, we're starting to build something here.
Yeah.
This was one of the first. I'm pretty sure one of the first castings that wasn't for your Superman and your creatures, I guess, but like the first like live action project that has got a casting outside of the Superman movie. So we're starting to build the pieces off. Like we have Waller and stuff like that, of course, but we had them prior.
Like the first new lead that we've gotten.
Yes. And I'm just again. I assume sometime this year we're getting a Batman. I would assume we're getting more of the authorities, I guess, as well, because I guess they had some castings too. But I'm extremely excited. I think her movie is going to be absolutely. I can't say it's going to be good yet because we don't know anything yet, but I think it could be really, really good.
I think the fact it's getting fast tracked so much, like with a good, like they already have a really good script for it. Apparently, I think it bodes well for it. I think the films that they're going to want to start this universe strong. So I think Supergirl being fast tracked so soon probably means they're pretty happy with it currently.
Yeah, I would not be shocked for like a 2026. Like I could see like 2026 or something like that.
That'd be so cool.
Oh man, I'm so ready for it to start getting content here.
Didn't they say Woman of Tomorrow was supposed to be right after Superman, or was that Lanterns?
I think we're getting Waller first.
Yeah.
And then, because I think they want to do like Peacemaker and Waller pretty close together, from what I understand. And we still need to get Peacemaker too. And Peacemaker's already
casted.
Peacemaker's pretty much ready to start filming. I think they just have to wait on when James Gunn's free. But I think Supergirl's pretty soon after.
Authority as well, I think, is Supergirl. But I mean, he's also said as of recent that like things that were announced have got switched around a little bit, so some might go ahead of others, which makes sense. Like when you're building a universe that's going to happen as you're writing, like all those announcements were pre them actually writing the project, so of course things are going to change and switch around and stuff like that. I wonder, maybe not at this upcoming summer Comic-Con, but maybe something in the fall we can have like an updated kind of schedule about when things are going to be coming out prior to like the upcoming summer of this coming out. So I don't know, I'm just excited to get more stuff here. Robert said, I'm excited about the casting as I think she's proven her short time that she has what it takes 100%. And I think James has been doing really cool things with their castings where like Corn Sweat, he hasn't been in a lot, but he does have like an acting experience behind it. But I think I think James has found this really sweet spot of people who do have a leg in the door, who they have a couple things under their belt, they can clearly act. But if you showed 10 people on the street this actress, they'd be like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
So they can, obviously House of Dragon's big, and you're bringing in those fans, but also you're bringing in, like, she's going to be Supergirl for the rest of her life now, I assume, or known for Supergirl for the rest of her life now. So,
and a lot of times having an unknown actor is good, because who was an unknown actor that we all came to love, or at least he was unknown to me? Grant Gustin. I didn't know who he was at first.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But I didn't watch Glee.
Did that really well.
Yeah.
The MCU especially did that very well. Like, yeah, like they were somewhat known maybe when they started, but now they're just superstars, and they're
for sure. I mean, I would say Millie's probably more known than David is to like a general audience based off of House of the Dragon. I think, because I don't think like any of David's projects, like The Politician or Hollywood or that horror film, was it X? Was that one he was in, or was it the other one? I don't know. Whichever one he was in, like I feel like they're not crazy big, whereas like House of the Dragon was huge.
100%.
So like,
yeah, he had a movie this year, but yeah, even then, like the only big star I would say we have so far is Viola Davis, which is a movie star by this point. But also Waller was, again, well established prior to all of this thing. So.
And Nicholas Hoult he's one of those actors I think like if you're a fan of comic book stuff, you know his name, but I think he's one of those actors that like for a general audience they go, oh, I know that guy when he pops up, but they don't know his name necessarily.
Yeah, Hollywood would know him, but like the general audience wouldn't be able to point. Like I knew of him, like I knew Beast, and I knew like some of these films he was in, but I couldn't tell you who that person was exactly and what their name was until he was casted in this. So, yeah, no, I'm very excited to kind of see where this all goes in the future. Already moving on, topic number 3. Kevin Conroy, Batman, will be included in Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3.
Still got to watch Part 1.
Same here.
Well, I'll just say that I'm surprised because I didn't know they recorded stuff that soon for Crisis.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Where it was announced, so they were working on this for a minute.
Because I'm used to knowing how voice acting works for like anime, where a lot of times for like the dub, Japanese they do it earlier, but the dub a lot of times for some shows they're not done with an episode till like a couple weeks before it airs. So
I'm more surprised because DC Animation normally like with the films, they normally get them out pretty fast. Like they're pretty bang one after another. So for them to have done something so far in advance for Part 3 is just interesting me, because normally they just are like, all right, one's done, get the other one out now, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm beyond happy that I think this news came out at the perfect time currently, because there's a lot of controversies about the like Suicide Squad game and how they treated that version of Batman. I haven't played the game yet, but just
I'm on the fence about it.
Yeah, I like from what I've seen, I was like, I don't know if I want to kill all my favorite heroes.
Yeah.
I mean, I played that NDA alpha when it came out, and it did not run good at all. But to be fair, it was alpha. But once it got past the like tutorial, it ran fine. But so it does not look good.
Weird. I just think it's a weird pitch for a game as well. Like all of these famous heroes that you love and cherish, and now you're going to go out and kill them. And then, again, I think Suicide Squad could be a really cool game. Like, I think that's a really great concept. I just don't know. Again, I haven't played the Arkham games, but I also think doing that to such an iconic Batman is a weird choice as well.
Yeah. There's no reason why Gotham Knights couldn't have been the Arkham verse, and this should have been its own standalone verse like that. I don't get it. I think that was a really weird choice. And I'm the same as you, where it's like a Suicide Squad game in its own sounds really cool. But the fact we haven't gotten really a proper Justice League game, like you can argue Injustice has that, but you don't really get to, play these characters too much. It's just a fighting game with the Justice League characters put on top of a fighting archetype. So I feel like the fact we haven't gotten a proper Justice League game in, 20 years since whenever that DS game came out, and we've got instead the Suicide Squad game is weird.
Yeah. And also, I would argue, again, I haven't played that game, but I would argue what I know about the Injustice storyline is not a very good adaptation of, like, the Justice League. Like, it's a very, like, jaded version of what those characters are. It's very Elseworld. It's not, like, a proper Justice League, like, as we know them. But I do think it's very funny, like I thought about the like Phineas and Ferb meme where it's like, if I had a nickel every time Kevin Conroy's Batman was included in a Crisis project, I've had 2 nickels. It isn't a lot, but
Weird.
that happened twice. So it
Yeah.
is funny that he's in both the Arrowverse's Crisis and their Crisis. And this was something we were kind of hoping for when they announced it. It was like, okay, you have like, will you cross over with some of these other like animated DC properties? Like, could you go over to like DC AMU and like like the like DC AU, right? The like Batman anime series and your Superman anime series. Like maybe there's a Harley Quinn, maybe there's a Teen Titans Go. I was saying like probably not, but it'd be crazy if we met like the Arrowverse's versions of those things.
Like Vixen.
Yeah, I was
That'd be cool.
Would that be or Oliver Queen? Throw him in there.
Really cool.
That would be cool, but probably not. But yeah, I mean, are we excited to hear him one last time? Something that we're looking forward to.
For sure. I mean, in terms of like doing all those different animated universes, I would have been obviously not sad if we didn't get Kevin Conroy's Batman because knowing what happened in real life, but I would have been sad if they didn't have other versions of these characters from animated projects already established because they're doing a Crisis movie. Like this should be what, not necessarily with Kevin Conroy, but this should be what they were doing anyway. Even if we didn't get Kevin Conroy's Batman.
We should get the like Lego Batman.
Oh, that'd be cool. Get Will Arnett back.
Yeah. Really funny.
That'd be crazy. I wonder how much money they're spending on this because I assume this one will cost more than what a usual DC animated movie costs.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they typically, at least in recent years, they haven't been putting a lot of what seemingly, again, I'm not caught up with this universe. I'm really going to try within these next week and a half or so, but like, I don't know. It feels like they haven't put in as much effort as they usually do. And I don't know how much of that is on their fault and how much of like DC as a whole and just not caring about what they're doing. It kind of just feels like, here's a couple bucks, just do what you want.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
Yeah, and it was also confirmed that he's also in the Cape Crusader show, which was rumored for a while. Like we had heard rumors about a year or so now, but it's confirmed now.
Didn't they come back then again and say that wasn't confirmed? I saw them confirm it and then unconfirm it.
Is it? Is it not in the opinion?
Yeah, let me just do a really quick check because I thought I saw this morning like they came out were like, no, we didn't get a chance to do that. Because I saw what you saw as well, where they said that it was, but then somebody said it wasn't.
Oh damn.
Yeah. One sec, I'll send.
Okay.
Picture in.
that like would have been cool though if like they could have got him because like what I've heard about the show is like it's like a like love letter to his Batman and his like legacy, and it's going really back to the core of who Batman is, and would have been cool if like that maybe that was his last thing and leaving like a real lasting would have worked much better than like the Suicide Squad game, or I would imagine even Crisis. But
yeah, I agree.
I am just glad they got him to record the lines before he passed, because if not, I fear they would have used AI to clone his voice, and that would have been very upsetting.
Yeah, I honestly kind of assumed that's what they were going with. So yeah, I guess they didn't get the chance, unfortunately. That sucks, man. But at least we have the Crisis that he got to do, and he can go out with a bang, and hopefully. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much he's going to be in it. Like I'm just going to assume it's more of a cameo and not like an appearance as like an actual character in the movie. But it's better than nothing. So
I like that his last role is going to be as animated, but like the Batman animated series version of Batman,
and his most iconic version.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, because I grew up. Well, I didn't watch too much of that show as a kid because my parents probably wouldn't have approved because it wasn't totally mature, but it was more mature than a kid show, I guess. But I did watch. I had the DVD back when DVDs were actually still pretty expensive. It was the two-sided disc. One side was the Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, cool.
And then the other side was one of the Mr. Freeze ones. Sure. I forget, but yeah, and I would watch that, and that was my intro to Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I saw Justice League growing up, but then I only saw the animated series of Batman like a few years ago for the first time. Yeah. Because of the thing me and Braden were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still have not. I haven't finished them. I really want to though. Like it's one of those shows that how good it is it just kind of like get put off and put off and put off as it's not like really, in the UI. But I do want to watch that show going into the, this upcoming show. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can find a time to do that. Already moving right along here. J.J. Abrams' Superman project is still in the works, according to James.
Believe it when I see it.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like I talk about this at least once a year. Like I feel like they're always just like, it's still happening, guys.
Yeah.
It's still happening. And I feel like James Gunn kind of taking over would have been the perfect time to like, nope, we're done with that. Let's switch it over here. But like James Gunn keeps saying, nope, it's still happening. Same with like your Constantine 2.
Yeah, that's a weird choice, isn't it? Constantine 2.
Connie, you're like my Superman guy. Is this still a movie you want to see? Or you?
I mean, I definitely want to see it. It comes out. We start knowing it's going to happen. We start hearing they're filming it. I'll be excited for it. I'll be really hyped for it. I would love to see this. I just don't trust J.J. Abrams because he barely makes things anymore. He keeps making deals with studios to make projects, and then he doesn't make them.
Our Justice League Dark show. I really
Justice League Dark. Wasn't he attached to some Green Lantern thing for a while? Wasn't the old Lantern show? Wasn't he attached to that? The one before the DCU version?
It could have been. I'm not sure. I know
There's
he
a
had
lot of things like that.
The Tana show as well that he was on.
Yeah, he did.
Or like a movie or something. And I was like, that I really wanted to see. I hope James Gunn still does something with that character because she's such an open slated character you can do stuff with. But
yeah,
I would love to see this. The only thing is I don't know if it's a good idea to have this be a thing right next to Superman Legacy, because then it's that comic book fatigue thing again. People will be like, "There's two Supermen. I'm tired of it." So if you have this, maybe let's say 2027 or something, then I think it could be a good idea. But if you have it even like a year or two apart from when Superman Legacy happens, I could see that being a red flag for viewers.
Yeah,
I get you.
That's definitely fair. Like, I mean, I think we're in a very awkward spot, but also a valid one with like you're like Batman, where you do like we still are going to have 2 upcoming Batmans.
Yeah,
which again I love. I'm fine with that. Like I think that's the joy of DC. You can have so many different worlds you can explore. But as a common audience fan, you're like, wait, who's Batman again? Is it this guy or is it this guy? Where it's like, well, it's both. It's like, oh, why do you have 2 like that's always going to be a thing for people. I will say, like, if this comes out, I would watch it. I'd be super hyped. I would rather the like that Val Zod show though, like with Michael B. Jordan. Like if you're like this one or that one, I was like the like Val Zod one. Like I think that'd be the more interesting one. And then it's not just like 2 Clark Kents. It's you have Clark Kent over there, and then you have this other Superman over here. Like I think that'd be really fun. A character we've never seen before. I don't think in like any medium really has been really explored. So we'll see.
I mean, Superman's my favorite fictional character of all time, so I'm definitely pretty biased on this. But I think, if we can have 2 Batman movies with 2 separate Batmans in 2 separate universes, I think it's only fair we do the same with Superman, because I feel like Batman's gotten so much over the past few years. Like we always have some sort of Batman TV show, and maybe Batman's not in it, but we've got some sort of Batman characters in a TV show always on all the time. We've got some sort of Batman in film all the time. I think it'd be cool if we finally had like 2 concurrent Superman movies, like not coming out the same year, but like one year, one the next year sort of thing. That'd be really cool. But I'm biased, so.
No, that's completely fair. Superman, it feels like just now Superman is starting to finally get some stuff. Like you have Superman Lois, and you have the, like My Adventures, and you have the Legacy, and you have Supergirl. Like we're just finally being like, okay, things are speeding up, and we're getting more stuff, and potentially the like Smallville people still want their show to come out. Like,
I think that's dead, unfortunately.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 Dubs. I said that, but I think. I mean, I'd love it too. I would love that to come out.
Same.
And I think it'd do good, like a Max show. I think people would tune in. I don't think it had to be like crazy expensive or anything. Like I think you could just. I don't know.
I agree.
It's tough to see.
Hate to see it.
You hate to see it. Alrighty. Up next year, Wilson Bethel. I hope I pronounced that right. Right. As Bullseye will return in Daredevil Born Again. Back on the Born Again train, Connor.
Hell yeah.
A whole segment about Daredevil.
This is the podcast. This is the podcast. This is Daredevil. It's the Daredevil podcast.
And it 100% is. Now you're my Daredevil guy, of course. Like these last month has just been what a ride it's been.
It's been
just
great.
all these photos coming out, the behind the scenes videos. Every week it's like, all right, they're coming back. Oh no, they're coming back. No, they're coming back. And I don't know if we talked about it last time, but like this is practically Daredevil season 4. Like
it feels like it.
A version of what a Daredevil season 4 could have been. Obviously different. It's like, previously I think he was supposed to be like the main villain of the season, right?
Yeah. Because originally they were going to have Bullseye be in season 5 of what the original show was. And then Typhoid Mary from Iron Fist season 2 was going to be the main villain of season 4.
Mm-hmm.
But like for this, I'm just so surprised how quick of a turnaround it was. Like we just have been getting little bits of information every single week that make it clear this is season 4. Like they're never going to call it season 4 because I don't think they legally can. I think there's some weird gray area there where they have to technically say this is a new version of the character, or no, not a new version of the character, a new version of the show. But I think that it is clearly season 4. Like it's clearly just they're continuing on the stories that we saw. I'm just really interested because we know the show is going to take place mostly in modern day of the MCU. So that's like a 6-year gap between Daredevil season 3 and whatever's going to happen here. So there's going to be a lot of time and space between these characters. I'm interested to know if like many of these characters were snapped and now they're returning or something like that. I was really worried that the Karen and Foggy thing wasn't legit because we never got like an official announcement of it. But then the behind the scenes photos came out and they're on set. I'm like, there we go. That's confirmation of that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I mean, I would almost be down for like a Arrow type thing where like half the episodes in present day, half is a backlash, and fill in those 6 years throughout the show.
That'd be really cool.
I mean, I've said I think we talked about this even last time, but I had said my theory of like, half the season takes place like during the snap, and then the other part takes place back half. That's why Karen's only there for 3 episodes, or like he's only here for 3. So
that'd be really cool.
So curious to see what we do. And with everything, I've talked about this on a bunch of the things I've been on these last couple weeks, but like, I wish we could have done this from day one. Like,
save so much time.
2019. Can you imagine how much time we would have saved?
Yeah.
If like,
about 3 seasons by now.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they just took, if they literally just took the Daredevil stuff, the like Runaway stuff, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, and just instead of canceling them or getting rid of them, implemented them into the main MCU. You could have like rebranded it and to make it easier for new people. That's fine to me. You could have had Secret Invasion tie into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doing it into Secret Invasion. Daredevil could have filled in the 5-year gap a little bit. So like Ryan could have done like your Agatha and stuff like that. Like could have tied into the like Darkhold, and like if you just used them to your advantage, we could have saved like 5 years worth of TV.
And it feels like that there's, I don't know, I feel like that where these shows would have really worked is because we don't really have any sort of material besides flashbacks and other shows of things that take place during the snap and things that takes place during like that whole era of Marvel. So it feels like if we had these shows coming out, we could fill in these gaps and make that era not feel so blank and empty. Because it feels like they kind of just gloss over that all happened.
It stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no villains. There's no at all in those 5 years.
Things were fine.
But like, to be fair, that was kind of one of the main points, right? Was like Thanos was kind of right, and the world did get better. Once he did that. So like maybe that would have like got rid of some of the like, I don't know, the point of it. But who knows? Daniel, do you have any thoughts on any of this stuff? Are you excited for the show? Have you still not seen it?
I have not seen Daredevil. I saw the first episode when I was still in high school, and my teacher at the time was a big fan of all superhero stuff too, or he still was, I'm assuming. But and then I talked about, it's like, I saw the first episode, but I'm not really into it. And he said, yeah, you may need to be a bit older. Even though I was like 15, but no, I have never seen Daredevil, like the whole show, but I saw I was going to be able to see Boyd again without seeing the first Daredevil, but apparently now it's basically Daredevil season 5 or whatever season they left off on. But yeah, so
I feel like they might explain some, like they might, I think, make it,
Yeah.
or they'll do one of those Disney. What are they called? The Legends.
Yeah.
That maybe recaps the show.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think they need to. Man, I think MCU, and again, like I've had this conversation so many times on here, but like the balance, how they balance how to recap people is very interesting. Because again, there's never been a shared universe to this large of a thing before.
Yeah.
Like this is brand new. So once you get to a point where now that we include all of these shows, this is like we're 50 projects into it, a like cinematic universe. There's so many of these things out. Do you cater to the new people, or do you just keep on going and hope that they've hung on? Like there's no right or wrong answer. There's pluses and minuses to both things, but like I do personally kind of think you do need to go into each project expecting that your audience has not seen the last 1 million minutes of screen time from all these shows, especially with a show like this where yes, it was in an era where it wasn't as like marketable. Like you're going to be people watching the show who did not watch all of these different shows that had come prior. Like you just have to. So I'm going to be very curious how they do it. And again, like I think if you do this right, you should be able to hop into the show not knowing anything prior.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, didn't somebody do like the maths for how much hours are in the main MCU? Like this was before the Defenders stuff got added. They added up all the first 4 phases, and it was like with the Disney Plus shows, it was like 120 hours or something like that. And then now you add the Defenders in, and that's what 160 extra hours on top of that. Like that's an insane commitment.
Yeah, and it's always growing. Like there isn't a time to pause, and like each year we get around 6 to 8 new projects added to that, which is like hundreds of and more hours. It's a lot, and again, I love this kind of stuff. I love having a new project every month, but I also understand it's not acceptable to expect everyone to just be able to do that. Like there's a reason people are like, yeah, I'm out of Marvel, like I can't keep up, and like that's totally fair.
Very fair.
That's so valid. Alrighty, kind of our main topic today. Speaking of your love of Arrow, aired its last episode over 4 years ago now.
Man,
whoa!
I feel that makes me feel old.
Where did it go? Where did
I know it was because of COVID, like you know.
That was pre-COVID, huh?
I mean,
it was about a month before it started.
I mean, even with the Flash, it feels like it only ended like a month ago. I mean,
yeah, that is true. I mean, I was the sickest I'd ever been in my life when the Arrow final came out, and I was dying. Like I was like, Arrow's finals tonight. I gotta watch it.
I remember being like, "Oh my gosh, Connor! Last night's episode was insane," and you're like, "I'm not doing so good, man." I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I watched it like 2 days later, which was the only time I'd ever. That was the longest I'd waited to watch a new episode of Arrow, I think, in the entire 8 years. And I was like,
"Yeah, that's insane."
I do plan on doing an Arrow rewatch, but I'm doing the Flash right now, and what I'm doing is I think I'm gonna skip all the crossovers.
Oh,
okay.
And then either watch the crossovers by themselves later, or watch it when I rewatch Arrow.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Arrow, when it aired, I wasn't that sad. I think I've talked about this a bunch. I think me and you have talked about it. Like, I wasn't that sad when it aired because I was like, oh, because I had the mindset, and I don't think I got rid of this mindset until a lot of these shows started to end. But like, it wasn't just Arrow, it wasn't just Flash. It was like the whole Arrowverse was a show.
Yeah.
So Arrow leaving, as sad as it was like, oh, just a cast member left the show. I still have Flash and Supergirl and Legends and Black Lightning and the spinoff and like all these different aspects that I can still watch. As sad as much as I was going to miss him, I was going to miss this cast, I was going to miss this. Like, I didn't feel that bad, and it was really like the beginning of this massacre that we just didn't know was happening yet. And I love a lot of like post-crisis Arrowverse. Like, I think there's a lot of good stuff still in there. It's not all bad, but there's definitely like there's people say stop after Crisis. And I was like, yeah, that's probably valid. Like, I can definitely see maybe why you'd want to do that, because it was like the beginning of a hard 4 years after that. 3 years, I guess, basically. I mean, is Arrow a show that we all miss? Like, is this something?
Yeah. I mean, I love how it ended. I honestly think it's a pretty perfect ending for the show and for the characters. But I mean, Green Arrow and the Canaries would have just been like a season 9 pretty much, because they'd already talked about potentially if they didn't want to end with season 8, replacing Steven with Captain McNamara after season 7, and then having that continue. That would have just been Green Arrow and the Canaries. So like Green Arrow and the Canaries probably would have been season 9, where we would have seen over the course of the show a lot of the Arrow cast coming in and out besides Stephen Amell. So I'm like, I miss that. I would love to see that.
Well, I am still pretty like not really too salty because Arrow's never been my favorite show. Like I only got an Arrow, so I only watched The Flash for a little bit. Then I was like, oh, I might as well watch Arrow. So I binge watched season 1 through 4 on Netflix, and coincidentally, right when I ended season 4, season 5 came out on Netflix, and then I watched that. Then season 6, I was watching it live. But so like when it ended, it was more like I wasn't really sad that Arrow was ending. It was more like, oh, Arrow is ending. I hope The Flash doesn't end soon too.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was saying is I'm still like I'm still kind of salty about like how they set up Green Arrow and the Canaries, took away from Arrow's final season just to do a backdoor pilot, and even with other episodes, and then Green Arrow and the Canaries never happened. I thought that was just kind of but yeah.
The only complaint I have about Arrow's final season is that they have so much of it devoted to the backdoor pilot.
Yeah. So, like I think it's the opposite from the Flash's final season. How Arrow final season started great and ended kind of bad. Well, not bad, but poor. And the Flash final season started bad, but then ended better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, better. I love those 2 episodes.
Yeah, episode 9 and 10, they are some good Flash content.
I actually did like the finale, but
yeah, that's fair. I've met a lot of people who really like the finale, and I love that for them. Like I really like if I don't know, it's just, like there's good stuff in that final episode. Like I think there's some stuff there that works for me. It just doesn't all work for me.
Like the seal flying.
They fly now.
They fly now.
Oh boy. But no, we're talking about the good things today. But no, Arrow's definitely a show, and I think I've missed it, especially recently, kind of looking back to it all ending like it does.
Yeah.
And I think Arrow, looking back outside of the non-Earth Prime, out of all the Earth Prime stuff, I do think it's the one that, as a whole, works the best as a complete package.
Yeah. I mean, I've said forever that I'm so happy Arrow ended when it did, because it got to avoid COVID, it got to avoid the massacre of all of the other shows. Like,
well, if Arrow canceled, that would have been it.
Yeah, like I think Arrow ended right before it could start to get hit by a ton of things, and it got to go out in its own terms. And it's probably the only show that did, because like Flash got to season 9, but they had already been talking about season 10. I feel like a lot of things like COVID and stuff sort of messed with the direction Flash could have went in. So like I think those seasons like season 7, 8, and 9 would have been a lot different in a world that didn't have COVID, or a world that didn't have all of the other things going on. So I think Flash still had to change a little bit in the end. Arrow never had to change anything, because it got to do everything it wanted itself. Well, other than, getting told you can't do Suicide Squad, or you can't do Ted Cord or stuff like that. But in terms of like actually the episodes, like they got to do the show they wanted to do for the most part.
100%. Yeah. And you could tell that was kind of like the end of them, the like network caring, I guess, of kind of what these shows did. Like, they're, they barely ever cross over, like outside of like what Eric Wallace did. Say what you want about that man, like he did really care about the Arrowverse and like the crossovers and stuff. Like, shout out to him for at least trying, because none of the other shows really did after that. But it was definitely the end of an era for a lot of that kind of stuff. Before we move on to kind of our main topic today, someone in the chat did show that they just released a photo for Cobra Kai season 4, apparently, behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, the one with all the cast together.
Yeah,
in front of the Miyagi house.
Yeah.
I'm real hyped.
Man.
I'm real hyped.
I'm Anthony got big. Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I'm so sad going into this final season, but also I could not be more excited. Everyone's here. They're all together. Excited to see where we take the new season. because I mean, honestly, I have no idea where to go. Like, I have no idea what we're going to be doing.
I feel like they've got to be doing that world tournament, right?
The tournament, yeah.
Yeah, I would
But
hope
like,
they would.
is it just the tournament for like 8 episodes, or is it
Well,
like?
we've got like Kreese. He's out and about now.
I guess. It's like GTA.
It's like
Kreese
Kreese is
going
there,
around.
maybe. That's funny.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Stranger Nasset said, I'm glad that the Arrowverse as a whole is over because it had a hell of a run. It did have a hell of a run. 40 plus seasons of TV. Yeah, that's a great run. That's very few franchises has even come close to that.
Yeah.
Right? Even sorry, go ahead.
If it didn't end when it did, I think all the shows would have been canceled, like Batwoman and Legends.
Mm.
So Pharaoh
100%,
would have got canceled.
Supergirl would have been canceled, I think.
Yeah.
Arrow probably would have gave it like got the Flash treatment and been like, all right,
I think so as well.
Yeah.
It's like you get to have your final season. We're not going to cancel you, but this is your last season.
Yeah. The Flash might have kept going just because it was making a lot of money. But even then, I think it would have gone like maybe they might have gotten to season 11, and then they would have canceled it after that. I think
I could have seen a world where maybe they kept the Flash around because it was still one of their most like streamed shows.
For the CW,
but the budget, I think the budget would have gone been so little, like it would have been like what is this?
Yeah, well, I think I mean, Eric Wallace had a season 10 basically planned out, so I think they probably could have gotten the season 10 if Grant wanted to do it.
Yeah,
but then
that's another thing. I think Grant was kind of like, all right, I got it. It's either this year or next year, but I'm kind of ready to get out of here. Also, like what he wanted, like those plans, it like under this new stuff, I don't think they would have gave it to him. Like, there's no way they could have the lanterns and
I don't think we were getting any of that. Like that
we were not getting Blackest Night. I mean, that
was such a crazy thing to say we're doing next year. Like
he went to have Spivak and Julian. Like he was thrown out.
Well, now, however, I will say the Arrowverse is probably the only like form of DC media that could do a good Blackest Night just because there's so many beloved characters.
That would have been so cool to see, like a genuine version of that would be crazy.
Over here, I was like, all right, now that's
didn't Titans season 4 say or season 5 say they were going to do that? Like if we got a 5th season, it was going to be multiverse, or was that Stargirl?
Stargirl, yeah.
Okay,
but Stargirl said they wanted to get Titan people as well, so it was like. But like Ryan Potter has said, like he also had multiverse plans with his character. So it's like, I wonder if all 3 of those shows were like supposed to like be one storyline.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been absolutely nuts. Like that's even bigger than Crisis in my opinion. Like bring in 3 different shows of that. Like oh my gosh, we could go down this lane and talk about that all day.
We should talk about that someday.
We definitely should, like missed opportunities or something.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fun. Alrighty, but next up here are kind of our main topic. I had. All of us have picked out about 4 to 5 projects from throughout the Flash's run. Haha, jokes aside. But so just some of our favorite moments from the Flash. Now, again, I love the Flash. I think we all love the Flash, even if we don't love all of it. I think we've at least had our share of love for the Flash. And we are going to go through and talk about these moments. We can all talk about the moments, even if we didn't pick those moments, because just picking 5 is very hard. So. That would have been very hard to do.
Put on my Flash mask for this.
And some of us have also picked the same project as well. Like there's some where it's like, yeah, that would have been my favorite project. But we're gonna
wear this for the whole thing.
Oh,
wrap it around. I won't be able to see it all.
All right, now this is one that we all would have chosen. Like I think this is all in our top 5 favorite moments from the show, and that's the pilot of the Flash, Barry asking Oliver for his help. In my opinion, this is where the Arrowverse was created. Like this was that moment. Like even Barry appearing over on Arrow season 2, like that was really cool. The Flash pilot as a whole, you could argue, but I think this was the moment where it's like, this was the creation of it all. What are our kind of thoughts on the scenes? What can we kind of have to talk about this moment?
Well, I love how they tied into it in the final episode of The Flash, right? Mm-hmm. Where he... Oh, no, it wasn't the final episode. It was...
it was 9,
Oliver, yeah. Episode 9, yeah.
Well, they also kind of did it in the final episode, too, but... yeah, I mean, this speech, I'm starting my Flash rewatch, or I just started, so I did season 1. I'm almost done with season 2 now. And when I got to this point in the first episode, I just got so hyped, and I was like all energetic what it was going, and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, this is sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. It's fine.
No, this is my favorite scene in the show. I think.
Yeah.
I'm in love with this scene. I think it's like you said, this is the moment where that shared universe was created. Like, it's not Barry Allen CSI coming to get Oliver Queen's to ask for Oliver Queen's advice. It's Barry Allen with super speed on the cusp of becoming a hero, going to the Green Arrow, well, the Arrow at the time, to ask for advice. Like, it's the first superhero on superhero scene in the Arrowverse, pretty much. And I think, like, here Oliver pretty much gives Barry the inspiration for the name Flash. Like, it's pretty cool. Well, I mean, we get it later on with Iris as well, but I think, like, here it's like
it was Oliver,
sort of, it plants the seed for that, where it's like same people in a Flash. I guess you could say Oliver also gave Ezra Miller's Flash the inspiration for the name Flash.
Oh.
That's a different story. But no, I think it's great. It's just, you can also see this is the first, like, mutual respect moment between Oliver and Barry, like, because they didn't get too much interaction in Arrow season 2, a little bit, but it was like Oliver almost looking down on Barry a bit because Barry was brought into the Arrow cave without his permission and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now Oliver's like, no, I'm talking to somebody who's about to go through what I have been going through for a while, but I can give him the advice and I can push him in a better direction so that he doesn't have to deal with the craziness he can do. He can be a hero that I never was. And it's just, it's a really good moment for both characters. And I think it says so much about both characters. I think it's like one of those really well-written moments in the Arrowverse. And it's this scene here where you're like, these are the two people you want to see more of as these shows continue. It's like in these crossovers, you want to see these two together.
Yeah, no, I think this is also my favorite Arrowverse scene. When like back when I did my like Crisis Project thing, and I was like, all right, like I wanted each people to pick their own project or their own scene to talk about. This was one I chose to kind of kick it all off, and I couldn't think of like a better scene to kick off a thing like that. The creation of the Arrowverse, the first real scene between the Flash and Green Arrow. And you know, like, there's always been those comparisons between like Batman and Superman with the Flash and Green Arrow, but like there's such a like yin yang thing that comes with Barry and Oliver, and there's just something really special about them, and there's like they're all so different, but also they're so similar, and I think that's what makes them such an amazing duo. And it doesn't help that Stephen Amell had like a quote tweeted when I posted on like that night. I was like, all right,
that was insane.
Wait, you did?
Yeah, it was my pinned tweet for a while, and then the controversy was like, maybe I should maybe I should unpin this tweet, but I still want to get that tweet framed with him being like, oh, you know, I was like, oh my god. That was so great.
Oh, was this during the final season crossover?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember. Okay.
Yep. I was like, this is crazy. This is amazing. Let's read some chat really quick. Chainsaw Reacts is in the house, buddy. How's it going? Council was great last night. A lot of fun. Crazy as always. Shrinda said, one of my favorite scenes is the Savitar reveal. Maybe we'll have it on here. I don't know.
No, he said it's the Salvatore reveal.
Oh, yeah. That comes later. That was a season
different
10
character.
Fun.
Yeah.
That was a season 10.
Robert said, Zoom catching and throwing lightning is still.
I love that. Or
That
like his initial reveal. He when I saw it as in 2015 when it aired, or 2016, whatever it was. It was it was I was pretty scared of him.
He was a scary one.
Oh, 100%. Robert also said, love King Shark and Grodd and their relationship with Barry and their fights. Yeah. I don't think I included anything from them, but like Barry running around like King Shark and the giant like tidal wave surrounding him is still one of the most like good looking scenes from the entire show. Like that feels like movie quality, like CGI and stuff like that. Like that was insane. All right, moving on to our second scene here. And speaking of the devil, is Zoom destroys the Flash. Just another one that I'm pretty sure both of you asked to talk about today. And again, goes down as one of the most iconic and just terrifying scenes of the entire show. Flash Freak, do you want to get us started here?
So, I absolutely love the scene. As I said, I'm rewatching this season. This scene, I do actually remember when I first watched, because I didn't know anything about the comics, and I still don't know
Yeah.
much. I mean, I know more than I do then, but so I didn't know who Zoom was, right? So I thought he was like an alien or something, because his suit looked so real. I didn't know it was a suit. I think even in character they say, I think Caitlin says, "Is he even human?"
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was pretty creepy, and this whole scene just gives you chills. I mean,
Terrifying.
it's like when it was about to happen, I was like cringing. I was like, "Oh no, it's about to happen!" When I rewatched it. Yeah.
100%. No, I think one issue I ended up finding in later Flash was that there was such a lack of stakes with your villains that it never felt like there was never a villain past maybe like Bloodwork that I ever feared could kill or even come close to hurting Team Flash. Like I never felt like any of them were ever in danger. And you look back at like seasons 1, especially this scene, season 2, like you think he's gonna die here. Like you're like I don't know what's happening. Like I can't think of another TV show where like I felt so fearful for a character's life than it, like, not in, as our main hero, I guess, as Zoom and Barry here in it. This destroyed Barry for like the rest of the season. Like he was we were terrified of Zoom, and they did such a great job at making him terrifying. And like I don't think Zoom is like the most like in-depth character of all time. He's pretty basic at times, but I think his like threatening level is so high that it doesn't matter. Like he just works so well as a villain, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think that season 2 is my favorite season, and Zoom is the reason. Like, because I just think that they handled the tone and vibe of Zoom absolutely perfectly, where they made him threatening. Like, Reverse Flash was threatening, but Zoom was scary. Like, Zoom is a terrifying character, and it's a scene like this that completely shows that, like, why he is the person who's like, he's the one speedster or villain you don't want to fight. Like, you don't want to fight any of them, but you definitely don't want to fight Zoom because he's just the scariest. Like, I'm sorry, I can't talk about the Arrowverse without comparing things to Arrow, but this is Barry's decline moment from, like, where Arrow decline when Oliver gets killed and kicked off the cliff. This is that scene for Barry. Like, this is the scene that kind of both characters
same
go
year
through
as well, right? Same year?
Yeah. It would have been, no, season 3 was during season 1 of Flash.
Okay.
It would have been the year after. So while this was happening, Arrow was dealing with Damien Dark and that whole season, which I know is everybody's favorite season. So everybody loves that.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
But
I also sorry,
no, you got.
It's also just like set the standard for like all these shows that like your hero has to get beaten to almost death at least once in all these shows. Like Oliver had his in season 3. This was Barry's. Sarah's was in season 3 of Legends as well with the like death totem. Stargirl had hers in season 1 with a shiv where she gets sent to the hospital. Like they all kind of have those moments where they almost died. It's like, yep, Arrow and Flash started that all the way back in here. There's also just that scene. I think it's the same episode, but like once he's done destroying the Flash, he takes him to like the police station with like the camera. Like, this is your hero.
He drops all the bullets.
Central City. Yeah, and he kills all the cops. It's like you took away Flash's biggest power, which was the like city's belief in him. Like they looked up to him. Without that, the city was terrified. And I was like, oh, it's so good.
I remember at the time I thought he was going to take Barry's mask off in the police station.
That would have been nuts.
Yeah, and then but then he brings him back to Starlab and takes the mask off.
Or CCPN, and his identity would have been revealed to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you may as well have, because he shows everyone anyway.
Yeah.
Just saved the whole show a bunch of time.
It's so good. I love it.
Stranger in the chat, how do you guys feel about the reveal about it being Jay? Did you feel it was just them being lazy and doing the same thing, or do you feel like they did it better this time? That's a really good question. Thank you.
I mean, they like did it through vibe. So I think it was fine. I mean, they had to show Cisco's powers.
Yeah, I think
because it wasn't a real. Sorry. No, you go.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. I I think it does kind of work for me because they do play in the fact of everyone's like, okay, it's clearly not Jay. We did that last season. They're not going to do it again. I think they really played to that. Be like, we did it again. Screw you guys. And I think it does work in that regard. And I don't personally think it feels too lazy. I do think both Wells and Hunter do feel like very different characters, and and I think it's done in very different ways as well. And I think. I don't know. I feel like what made Zoom so good wasn't Hunter himself. I feel like him outside of the suit isn't what kind of made that work so well. It was him inside of the suit. So I don't think it affected me too much.
No, I completely agree. I feel like the scenes where it's just the actor, not in the suit, he's still scary, but the threat level goes down a whole lot.
Yeah.
You're not kind of, you don't have that Tony Todd voice that's just terrifying. So I think I didn't find it. I mean, I guess you could say it's lazy. I mean, I would be a hypocrite to say it's not lazy, because I did say the same thing about Superman and Lois for doing that 2 seasons in a row with the bait and switch with the villains. So I would be a hypocrite to say that Flash doing it isn't sort of similar, but I enjoyed it from Flash's point of view because it's they were using a character's name of Jay Garrick, and to comic book fans, it was a good bait and switch, because they were expecting Jay Garrick to be like, oh my god, they're doing Jay Garrick. Wait, Jay Garrick's actually Hunter Zolomon? That's kind of crazy. That was where I thought the reveal more so was, which I think was cooler. Now if it was the actual Jay Garrick who was evil and we never got the real Jay Garrick, that would have been a bit insane. But I don't know, I thought it was fine at the time.
But I also just think the ending twist with the real Jay Garrick was even better. That reveal is insane. Again, I didn't know.
That doesn't work without it.
No, it really doesn't, and I really wish I could watch that for the first time now, because as a kid I didn't appreciate that was Jay Garrick. I was like, oh, it looks like his dad. Okay, that's cool, I guess. I didn't understand what that meant. That's freaking Jay Garrick here. So absolutely craziness.
I will say that as soon as you see, even on my rewatch, as soon as you see Zoom without his mask on, it does kind of not make him seem as scary when he has it on.
100%. Yeah, I think I like the whole season, but I do think from the point where we find out it is Jay onward, it's good, but I do think it's slightly less good than it was, within the first half.
I do agree. I think Flash season 1 manages having a more consistent season.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next scene here, and this is Barry saying goodbye to Nora. So this is arguably another one of those just best scenes from the show. I feel like this is the one that gets thrown around a lot, as far as oh, you remember Golden Age Flash, and what a way to end the season. I think there's a reason people say that the final episode of season 1 is one of the best episodes from the whole show. Connor, let's start with you this time. Do you have any thoughts on this scene?
And it's really emotional. I think the more shocking thing to me, though, at the time was other Flash being there and telling Barry no, don't come in here, sort of don't stop this sort of thing, and then fading away. That was insane to me at the time, and I was like, wait, what's going on? Because during season 1 I knew the basics about the comics, but I didn't know a whole lot of what was going on. So I was like, what does that mean? What are they doing there? But then when he comes in and just the emotional scene of him just saying goodbye and everything like that, it's one of the most, it's a scene that hits the most, I think, maybe in the entire show, in the entire 9 seasons. I think this might be the most emotional moment. But yeah, no, I really I think it's a perfect way to cap off the episode, especially since it's we're so used to seasons of superhero television ending with a big fight between the hero and the villain, that I felt like Flash season 1, it ended with, sure, there was a brief sort of fight there between Barry and Eobard, but it wasn't the focus of the episode. They got that out of the way in the prior episode, so in this episode they were able to kind of focus more on the emotions and the characters themselves. I think that it shows here, it really worked.
100%. Flash Freak?
I will say, even during my rewatch, I thought I was ready for this scene. I bawled my eyes out. I mean, it was, whenever I watch it, it makes me tear up. It's such an emotional scene. I think it's one of the greatest scenes of the Flash.
Yeah.
And now even when it connects to now season 9, where we finally see that Barry telling him no, it, yeah.
100%. There's a whole like part of the internet that always likes to argue about Grant
Mhm.
Gustin is like a TV actor and he's not a
Oh,
big screen. So, this episode, I mean,
well,
all throughout season 1, but like season 1 especially, he acts his heart out, and like there's like one of my favorite scenes in like the Flash movie is like the same scene but with like their version of the character where like they're in a grocery store and he's saying goodbye to his mom, and that's a great scene, I think. But compared to this scene, I think this scene does that same exact concept but a slightly better. And I think that's very impressive in like a low budget like CW show compared to like a $300 million movie. So yeah, no, this scene's great. Like it's definitely like, I like this wasn't one that I personally picked, but like it's probably at least top 10. Like it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I mean, and that whole TV actor argument is so stupid.
I hate
had
it
this
too,
conversation with people. Okay, TV actors, sure. Like you don't only have this scene. You have season 2, the Runaway Dinosaur episode.
Yeah.
You have season 6, The Last Temptation of Barry Allen.
There's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, the Grant Gustin, again, I have my issues from throughout the show. Grant Gustin was never my issue.
Never one of them.
Not once where I was like, Grant Gustin wasn't really putting his A game. He put his A game even in the worst of the show. When the show was at the bottom of the barrel for me, Grant Gustin was still like, well, Grant was great this episode. Can't believe he pulled that out of here. It's crazy. There's so many actors where like, you'll watch like these old TV shows and it's like George Clooney. What is he doing?
Yeah, I don't feel like there's a gap between movie and TV actors. I feel like especially today when you've got so many movie actors like headlining TV shows.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like they're the same now. They're just actors.
Yeah. My mom was watching like a show from the early 2000s and it had Mahershala Ali in it. I was like, oh my gosh, like you're in this like series regular, like you're in every episode. Yeah. This is insane. So yeah, no, I'm really excited for the day where he gets some more like movie stuff. Like I know he's been doing those like dog movies and stuff. He's currently on Broadway, but like in 5-7 years, maybe when he takes a break from Broadway, I'd love to see him like on like the big screen with like give him like a Knives Out where he just gets to play with a bunch of different actors or something like that.
Maybe he'll be in Code 8-3 with
Stephen. Or you can give him a role like they gave Tom Holland. I forget what it was called, but the one that made him take a break from acting.
Oh yeah, the Apple Show.
Give him like a dark performance like that.
Yeah.
The Crowded Room.
Let him play a villain, man. He plays such a great
villain. He plays a really good villain.
And everything I've seen.
Well, see, if he came in the DCE, the new DCU, I'd want him as the Flash. But
give him Dawn. How crazy would that be?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was funny.
I stole your face, Barry.
I still think we should have seen him as Earth X Flash, like
that.
Crossover.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for Savitar, I think they would have. That's the only reason I did.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on. Next up we have, you said Barry visiting all of his scenes. So, which is very valid. I think that's very valid. But
really good.
The one that I imagine, like there's that one that pops in my head personally, where like Henry's like, the like Flash saved me the other day. He's like, oh, cool. Is like, you would tell me if you're the Flash, right? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, well, if the Flash was my son, I would tell him I love him and blah 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 blah. And that is one of like the best like pieces of like that dialogue from the whole show, in my opinion. Like that's another scene I can look back on and I cannot like not cry while watching that scene.
Oh yeah, the one that comes to mind for me is there's two. I think the one in the premiere or the second episode. I think it's in the premiere when it ends with Henry puts his hand on the glass and says, "I love you, son," and then Barry puts his tearing up, and he puts his hand on the glass and says, "I love you too, Dad." And then the second one is when he's talking about how he let the Reverse Flash get away, or he's talking about how he finally found him, but he couldn't beat him, and Barry's sobbing, and then Henry goes, "You need to let it go."
Yeah. It's such a good element to a season. Like again, like I think another thing that later Flash kind of gets away from is like there's so many aspects to season 1, right? Like obviously he's
Mhm.
the Flash and he has stuff with Star Labs, but also he has a job and he has this stuff with Iris and Joe, and then he has this stuff with his dad, and he has so many aspects of his life. And I think this being Barry's main motivation to be the Flash and to be this hero and to not only get his dad out of prison, but also keeping other people from being in the same situation him and his dad are in, is so good. And Henry is such a great character, and I think how they handled his death was ultimately great, but I do wish we kind of could have got more of this character. And like John Wesley Shipp, like what a brilliant idea to bring him back in the Flash TV show, not as Barry Allen's time, but Barry Allen's father. Like what a like give that person a raise, because that was a great choice.
No, I love it. I think the addition of Henry in this sort of role for the entirety of the first scene of the show was really smart. Like it was a really good way to humanize Barry and like have a load of scenes that are not related to superpowers or superhero stuff at all, like just related to Barry really wanting his dad out of prison and just being able to visit him like this. I also just love the motivation of he's doing this to be a hero, but at the end of the day, he's not just gonna take his father out of prison. Like he needs to prove his innocence so that he gets to live free. And it just adds this extra bit of emotional weight to these scenes that I love as well. I don't really have much more to say than what you guys have already said, but yeah, it's just great. And then bringing in John Wesley Shipp to play the role was super smart as well, which I think the CW shows in general were so smart with this. We're bringing in other people as legacy cast members. Like Supergirl did the same thing. Like it's really cool. I love when shows do that.
100%. Yeah, they were always really good about this. All right, this is my first pick, I think. And again, like a lot of them that you guys picked, like would have probably filled out my top 5. So I was like, all right, let's get a little creative. Probably one of the only scenes from season 9 that I would even consider to be on this list. But no, I think this is such a special moment in the Flash. And aside from my dislike of season 9 and what I don't think worked, I think the fact that they were able to do this, something that I thought they would have let go a long time ago, the fact that they were able to have Barry go back in time to that night, the same night that we've been waiting for 9 seasons, was so satisfying. And not just doing it, because Flash does a lot of things and sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. In my opinion, it worked really well, and having that final thing with Grant and Matt Lesher's Thawne as well was so unbelievably good. And seeing again how everything we've been working towards for these 9 years full circle, just I just loved pretty much everything about this episode. But just that scene of him doing the like hand raise meme and pulling things full circle was so good. Connor, do you have any thoughts on this scene?
I have my problems with Flash season 9. This scene is not one of them. I think that they handled this fantastically. This was the one scene from season 9 that I had people who like had dropped off the show 5-6 years beforehand were coming up to me and being like, "Oh, I saw Flash finally did that thing that they teased back in season 1," and I was like, They did do that thing. Like, I remember in college, like the day after the episode aired or whatever, like somebody who hadn't watched shows like season 1 was like talking about it. We're like, "Oh, I saw that they finally like sealed the loop or whatever," and I was like, "They did, and it was really good. They handled it really well." Like, it was a really good scene. I know that technically this isn't supposed to be the same version that he's sealing because of Crisis changing everything.
Different one,
but I still think it's really cool to do this, because I think a lot of us were worried they weren't going to do this.
I thought they just gave up.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I was like, I don't see how they're going to bring that back, or they're going to do that again, but they did. And it was one of those times that in later Flash, I can genuinely say it worked. It hit on an emotional level. It didn't feel like anything took away from the scene. It felt like the characters were in the moment.
Well, it kind of, if you actually look at in season 1 when that future Flash is there, he's vibrating. But if you actually look at the suit, it does kind of look like
it does. It does kind of look like the same suit.
Yeah.
And we've been through a bunch of timeline changes and crises and a bunch of things.
Flashpoint, crisis. And then I think even Armageddon might have changed some things.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're in like 15 different timelines since season 1. It's insane. But
the one that Barry changed in season 1 when he did Out of Time. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, he's messed things up a couple times.
He does a lot of things.
That was that meme during season 3. That was the biggest meme, I think. And the era with
the cup as well.
DC, where him always messing up the timeline.
Yeah. What'd you do this time, Barry? All right. Alrighty. Speaking of
Who picked
Oliver,
this?
Barry and Oliver heart to heart after episode. I was actually kind of shocked to have seen this one because at first I was like, oh yeah, this is the scene in season 8. So, yeah, it makes sense to the one. I was like, oh wait, no, this is Elseworld. This is the
one
bar
in season
scene
7 of
2
Arrow.
years prior. Yeah.
Season 5 of Flash.
Yeah, Connor, go ahead and talk about why you like this one.
I mean, like, biasly, I like this scene a lot for all of our reasons, but I mean, I think it's a really important scene for Barry as well, because like Barry's talking to Oliver about how Oliver just made some kind of thing there with the monitor, how he talked to the monitor and he made some sort of deal, and that's the only reason why Barry and Kara are alive right now, and Barry kind of recognizes that. But I think it's a really good scene because Oliver's like he's I think this is a scene where Barry is pushed into being a hero that doesn't need other heroes around him, sort of thing. And like the season 9 scene with him and Oliver is where Barry finally is like has reached his full potential. But I think this is the scene where Barry kind of realizes, okay, pretty soon I'm not going to have Oliver here to back me up. Pretty soon I'm going to need to be the leader that Oliver has been for all these few years. And like Oliver's telling me, it's about holding on to what you have, however long you might have it. And I think it's just Barry sort of there's a somber tone to it that I really like, but Barry's sort of recognizing now, okay, so I need to step it up just a little bit because something's coming that Oliver might not be here to help me stop, and I'm gonna need to be the hero that I've heard everybody tell me that I am, but I finally need to recognize that in myself. I really like the scene for that reason.
And that's so valid. And I think that there is just on like all of our side of things, like Barry kind of thinks like this is just like another hangout, like this is fun.
Yeah.
But like he knows that this could very well be the last time that they have a beer, just the two of them. He knows next time they hang out, they're probably going to be facing a crisis or something equivalent to like a big thing that they have to deal with. He's going to have to sacrifice them soon, and he knows that. And I think these two, this is just something that I think works so well with these shows where in every crossover in some way, shape, or form after the big battle, there's at least one scene where these two are just hanging out together and just like in each other's company. And I think that's a lot of things. I cannot think of another, like the MCU is great and like the DCU is great and a lot of these, like, even some of those stuff, but like what I think the Arrowverse does so well is just these character moments just with the characters, like characters getting coffee or going for a beer or going for a run or hugging each other, or just these little moments that in your big blockbuster movies you just don't have time to do. You just don't. But these are the heroes at their core. When they're not fighting these giant zombies or robot creatures or speedsters, they're people at the end of the day. These are friends who fight crime together. And you get to see that on screen. And I think it scenes like this that make the Arrowverse what it is. Like that's what makes them so special in my opinion.
Completely agree.
So that's a fantastic pick, a splendid pick. Flashrick, do you have any thoughts on this scene?
So I'll be honest, I don't remember specifically what was said in the scene. I've only seen Elseworlds once.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I mean, I remember it was a good scene. I mean, it just anytime Barry and Oliver go to get a beer, it's a good scene. So
yeah, it's also Sorry.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
It's also just followed by the like logo of like coming this fall at the
I know what it is.
I
was insane.
I remember I was actually obviously younger at the time. I remember audibly screaming in my room when my mom came into my room and thought I was dying. But I was freaking out.
What it was, but like I knew it was.
I didn't know what it was either. I
remember
I knew it was like a big event, but that's all.
Yeah. That's basically what it was for me. It was like, this is insane. Like, oh my god.
I remember this was like, Elseworlds was the same. It was only like a month after I started making videos, and I remember doing one like a month before Elseworlds came out. Like one of the first videos I made was like, is Elseworlds actually Crisis on Infinite Earths? Because the monitor was in it. Because we were hearing a lot of like little things about the crossover, and they were like, are they actually going to do Crisis now and just like kind of have it be a surprise? And then the end of the episode came up with, so I wasn't completely shocked we had Crisis, because like Psycho Pirate and stuff was in it. And Psycho Pirate is a big Crisis Infinite Earths character, and then they didn't even use him when they did Crisis, but that's whatever. But like, so it didn't overly shock me for that, but I was so happy that they were like broadcasting in advance of the time, like a year from now, we're doing the big one. Like we're going
was
to
insane,
build this up throughout the next year. But for this scene, like it's basically just Barry, it's Oliver kind of trying to keep spirits high, kind of trying to act like they're just hanging out, and Barry kind of recognizes that something's not right. Like Barry recognizes the deal was made, that is the only reason him and Kara are alive right now. Oliver was responsible for that deal, and it's probably not a good deal. And then Oliver's like, look, we're not going to talk about that deal. Just we're here right now. We're just having fun. Appreciate this while we have it, because we might not always have it. And I think it's just it's a really good way to kind of sort of tease out what it was, because we didn't see the deal at the time, so we couldn't say for sure if this was Oliver's going to die in Crisis or not. But there was like a sense of, this isn't good. We might not be getting another scene like this. So let's, like, us as the viewers, let's enjoy this while we have it, sort of thing as well.
100%. Yeah. And that stuff I hadn't really even thought about. Like, you are very right in all that. And how it is really like the last, I guess, time prior to, season 9 of The Flash, but these characters kind of just get to hang out before he dies, right?
Yeah.
So that's crazy. All right, our next one here, and I will be right back once I pull this up on screen. You guys can talk about it really quick. I will be right back. And that's Barry reading Runaway Dinosaur. I guess Nora reading Runaway Dinosaur. I don't know why I said Barry. So Runaway Dinosaurs, what are your guys' thoughts on this scene?
So I have not got to this scene on my rewatch yet. I'm like 2 episodes away. Because I just finished the Versus Zero episode. But I do remember this was, I still consider this one of the best episodes of The Flash. It was all Barry. I remember this scene was, it was definitely an emotional one.
Yep. No, I agree. I can't remember a crazy amount about this episode in general. It's been a while since I've seen this episode. Like, so when it aired, and then I think I've rewatched season 2 once since it aired. I've seen a lot of the first half of the season again, but I haven't watched a lot of the back half of season 2 since like around the time Invasion came out, I think. So not too long after it aired. But I do remember really liking this episode. I do remember really liking this scene. I think it was always really nice when like we got a scene between Barry and Nora, even though it's like, it's tied into the Speed Force and all of that. It's still a really good moment. It's a really emotional moment, and it's kind of this is the first scene between these two characters after the season 1 ending, isn't it? Like the actress plays Nora doesn't show up at all in the first part of season 2. Okay, well then
maybe a
then
flashback, but I don't think so. I think most of the flashback stuff was like with Joe in season 2.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's a good scene.
Incredible scene, and I feel like I would have a hard time talking about the scene without talking about like the whole episode. Like that whole episode is just one of the best things the show has to offer. Like Barry kind of sacrificing his powers to save Wally, and then trying to get it back and risking his life and trying to get Barry back, and Nora being back again. This was back when Nora was special. Like there's, I think they had like, I think they used her way too much in later Flash, especially as like Joan and Speed Force. Like I like the occasional Speed Force, but like when they made her like a physical character, it's like okay.
Well, see, I didn't mind her as Joan. I didn't mind her.
Joan's fine, yeah. Joan's fine. I just think
when she was
Speedster,
used way too much. Well, Barry
was horses.
It was like Barry was used to seeing her, right? So when he saw her, it wasn't like it wasn't a shock to him.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, she's here now. Okay.
Just like here she's
yeah. Okay, she's
hey mom.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah. Alrighty then, we're gonna be moving on to our next one, and that's the Savitar reveal.
Wait, is it Savitar or Salvatore?
Yeah, I was trying to say Salvatore.
This is one that I picked, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if this would have ended up on my list, because I'll be honest, I don't like when that happened. I didn't like the moment. I was kind of pissed that it was Barry. I was like, oh, all right, they did the Barry thing. I think it's just because for how many months I was like, it's not Barry. Like they would, that's like, they wouldn't.
It's Ronnie.
Wouldn't do Barry. Yeah, it's Cisco. It's Iris was the stupidest theory I ever heard. Was Iris?
What? I've never heard that. I heard Ronnie. I actually thought at first.
Yeah, I thought maybe because Caitlyn stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was Ronnie.
But I mean, now I'm thinking about it. It wouldn't have made any sense now that I think about it. But
I I remember people being like, "Well, Iris was there when Zoom was telling how he did the thing, and then she did it the following all these years later." It was like, but I don't know how that would make sense. I mean, Savitar doesn't make sense anyway. Like, none of it really makes sense. But like, there is something about that scene. Everything leading up to that scene. I've seen that scene so many times. The music, the Grant's acting here, the slow burn of him undoing. I know who you are. It's just like his monologue in that scene, and then the suit slowly undoing it and stepping out. Like, no, Flash. I told you this whole time. I'm the future Flash, and it ends the episode. And that's one of my like visual like memories watching the show, where I'm up like until 3 a.m. just being like, how what does this happen? I had to go to school in the morning. I just couldn't sleep. And like for a while that was like that's how I knew a like episode of TV was good, if I couldn't go to sleep after I just watched that episode. And just waiting for the next episode. And again, like Savitar, I have my many issues with that character, but there is a real coolness to Savitar and what he is.
Yeah.
Again, Grant playing a villain is, I think, really good. Like, he plays that really well. Just like so much so I wish this had happened sooner. Like, I think this moment should have happened at least 2 to 3 episodes sooner, if we got to see Evil Barry for a lot longer than we actually did. As cool as the suit is, because it is a very cool suit. But I do really enjoy this scene. And again, maybe after that point, maybe not as much. But it in that moment, it is a cool scene.
I mean, I kind of like, I like season 3 a lot more than most do. I think season 3 it has problems, but I think overall it's still really
aged
good
amazingly.
Yeah, exactly.
It aged so unbelievably well after recent seasons.
No, genuinely. But like I one of my main problems with the whole Savitar reveal is just it should have been sooner. We should have had like half a season with Evil Barry. And with because that reveal is so good. Like, they do such a good job at making it hype. Like, the way the music kind of swells up, and then he's like, he's just and then he just gets out of it, and it's just the reveal. It's Grant Gustin with this huge scar on his face. It's like, whoa! Like, yeah, a lot of people had kind of assumed it was future Barry at that time, but it like to actually see that reveal was crazy cool, crazy good, and it made you really excited to see the final few episodes of the show. I think it would have been really cool if we'd had 8-9 episodes to deal with the aftermath of Barry is evil, because like I think having a fully evil Barry, because like we've seen versions of the evil version of these characters. Like, we've had Overgirl on Supergirl, on Crisis on Earth X, we had the Red Daughter version of Supergirl, we had like Earth X Oliver. We hadn't really seen an evil version of fully Barry Allen, which was really cool. And I think an evil version of these characters, I'm somebody who always loves to see evil twisted versions of the main characters. And I think that this Flash doing this is a really cool idea. Just could have had more time.
They just think it feels it like definitely felt like they wrote it for there to be an evil Barry, but they never planned after that. So like once it happened, it's like, oh, now now what do we do now that they know it's Barry? Like, how do you write that into the story now? And also just what they do with like the whole like chicken and the egg thing, where it's like, okay, that makes no sense whatsoever.
It didn't make sense. So I remember, because everybody would always, even though phones weren't out, Comic-Con panels, people would always post it on YouTube, so I must have put on. I remember, this is after season 3, so there was the panel before season 4.
Oh yeah,
there was somebody who asked Todd Helbing a question like, "Oh, will you ever explain this?" And he was, you could tell he was stuttering his voice. He didn't know how to answer, and he was like, I think he said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have something pretty soon that goes full in depth," and it never happened. It was so funny.
Yeah, even Grant was like, "Don't ask me. I have no idea."
Yeah,
it's like time travel.
And the thing is, there's so many easier ways that could have gone about it that made sense. Like, there's a lot of people who said like, oh, the like time variant from season 2 that Barry killed off, that was actually Savitar, and he was mad because Barry killed him off. Like, that could have been cool.
Yeah,
I had said like the original timeline Barry that from season 1 that was erased because of the particle stuff. Like, that could have been Barry, and that's why he kills Iris, because he didn't know Iris in that timeline. Like, there's so many, I think, easier ways you could have gone about it. And they want the single most complicated version.
Well, but here's the thing: it's like, whenever you have time travel, you're gonna have a plot hole too. That's just what
100%,
time travel,
yeah.
because time travel itself is a plot hole. You know, you got that thing where if you go
Yes.
back and kill your grandfather, you won't be there to alive to kill your
Yes.
grandfather. So you expect like maybe 1, 2, 3 plot holes,
Yeah.
but the way they did it was not ideal.
Overly complicated. Yeah.
It was just like, and I haven't seen Arrow season 3 in a while, but from what I remember, it was just like Arrow season 3. How it was really good, and then the last like quarter is when it fell off.
They dropped the ball. Yeah.
It's like a lot of it feels on par with the first 2 seasons, similar to Arrow season 3 for a lot of the season, and then there's a point where they get to a certain point of the season, and then from that point on, it's like this feels a lot less planned out than it should, than the show usually does.
100%. Shirley said, I heard Ronnie and I heard Eddie, and I even heard like season 1 Harrison Wells.
I did hear Eddie. I did hear
Eddie a lot.
I heard Ronnie, Eddie, and I think I heard one say Caitlin, but it made no sense.
I mean, Eddie would have worked because like Cobalt Blue, just a blue speedster in a suit, and then
honestly probably would have been better than Cobalt Blue.
I would have agreed. Yeah, I think his
Cobalt Blue would have been amazing if they actually did him right.
Yeah.
No, they had all the pieces there.
Yeah, they did.
Know how to, they had the puzzle pieces, but they put the pieces in all the wrong ways, and it's like
jamming them in, just like hitting the jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, it's like all right. I guess you did it at least. I can't yell too much.
Yeah.
Well, the best part of Cobalt Blue in season 9 was his suit. His suit was so comic accurate.
It's a gorgeous suit. I love that suit. 100%. Already moving on to our next one.
One last thing I just want to say about the Savitar thing real quick. Is one of my favorite moments from the entire show, or one of my favorite lines from the entire show, is when Savitar Barry says like, the thing about time travel is the more you do it, the less the rules apply to you. I feel like that was somehow the writers being like, don't ask questions about this. The rules don't apply to this character anymore.
Well,
time travel so much.
Well, and the cool thing about that is it's actually true. So time travel in real life is still scientifically, and mathematically, it's possible. Right? It was proven. It's just engineering, in terms of engineering. Well, and we can't, because anything with math can't go the speed of light. So like, engineering, it's not possible, but scientifically really is. But that I would assume would be true even in the theories of time travel. If you do it, you'll kind of be immune to it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's like shown in motion with Dawn. Like Dawn has literally got his powers taken away and killed how many times that he keeps coming back because rules don't apply to him. Like it's so good. Like like back then, like you had some really really good stuff with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, another one of Connor's beer scenes. We have Barry and Oliver.
This is the last Oliver one I picked, though. I mean, I guess one of the other ones is already done anyway. But no, I love this scene. I think it's super good callback to the season 1 scene on the rooftop in the pilot. I think this is the scene where it's like Oliver pushes Barry into being like, yeah, you're the greatest hero. Like this is it. You've reached your absolute full potential. You're not going to get any better because you're already at your maximum. Like you're the best. You're the best you're going to be. It's like when he's like, Barry's asking him, do you think I'm doing enough? And Oliver's like, you tell me. And then he kind of does the callback lines. It's so good. And also just them getting to have one final scene together.
One battle beer.
Yeah. One final drink together. In the same set that Barry talks to Eobard in the past in the very next episode. But no, I love this scene so much. I think I was just completely in love with the idea that we had these two characters back again one last time, because I'd already kind of accepted we were never going to get Stephen Amell as the character again. So getting scenes like this at all, I know there's such fan service, like they're just references to other stuff we've already had, but it's me. I'm getting fan service here. I like this sort of stuff. I love this sort of stuff. It really
fan service has got such a bad rap because like fan service is not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just when you overuse it and how you do it sometimes.
When it's all you have, then it's bad.
Yes. This episode, I think, balances that very well. Listen, like, this episode isn't perfect. There's some bad writing in here. I won't say that, but this episode was very special, and you can tell that I think Eric Wallace, I think, cares more about the other shows than he did his own at times, because like
It feels a
he
little
loved
like that.
yeah, like he like when it comes to bringing in Oliver or like Batwoman or all these other, you know, like the Armageddon stuff, like he knows how to write it. Like
Yeah.
I really think he wanted like a Justice League show. Like if this was like a
I think he could have worked there. Like, I think his writing would have worked with that.
He he just really. Are you okay? Okay. Like I think the like events or like the two-parters, he knew how to write. Like if it was a very short kind of limited thing, he would have done well. Like maybe like a Flash movie, he could have wrote better than like a Flash TV show. But like when it comes to like the episode arcs and stuff like that, is where I think he ultimately faltered. But no, I 100% agree. I was crying at this scene. Like this to me, this was the end of the Arrowverse. If the pilot with Oliver and Barry was the start, this was the end. It was this giant cycle. That speech that he gives Barry, it's a full circle moment. It began and ended with these two, and it is a perfect scene. And I you know, this is one that I just put on at point like, yep, this is amazing. You know, this would be the other scene that I would even mention putting up for season 9 of The Flash. Like this is the one other one. So no, good.
I completely agree. It's like the last 4 episodes are the end of The Flash. This is the end of the Arrowverse. Completely like what you said.
And if this was the final scene of The Flash, I'd be like, okay. Like I know a lot of people would be very mad because it's like Oliver's there, it's not Iris and all that kind of, and that'd be valid. Like that'd be a very valid opinion.
I mean, I'd love it, but it's valid. I can see
it's so valid. Like I would completely understand. But if this was, I'd be like, okay, this is amazing. I love it, and I would have ended the show with a much better reflection of the show, I suppose. Because like when I think back on The Flash, now it unfortunately isn't as positive as maybe if you ended with this, or I mean, hell, episode 10 I think would have been a great ending as well. But that's just me. If you throw in some like other stuff to make it feel more like a final episode, I think that could have been. Nonetheless,
I'm surprised it wasn't, honestly. It would have made sense for it to be the final, but
I would have done your like Cobalt Blue arc, and then you have like very like Supernatural, where like the final episode. I haven't seen it, but like what I've heard, like the final episode is kind of more on its own. So maybe that's when you do that. I don't know. Yeah. That's me though. So season 9, I think that's our last season 9 scene. All right, this is one that I chose. Now this is a scene I've always really liked. And this is another one of those scenes where I just kind of put on repeat a lot. Now, Ralph in season 4, I think, is a very interesting case where I'm very mixed on, because I think he is a lot of times really rough to watch. It's really rough to watch his arc in those early episodes. Yeah. He's a tool, and he's very hard to watch, but I do think ultimately his arc through season 4 is not only the best thing about season 4, I think it's one of the best arcs in the entire show. Like how they ultimately I think it's even better than Barry's arc. Like Barry's arc kind of fell off after season 3 or so, right? But like his, like, even, you know, obviously the actor left the show. All that aside, all the controversies aside, I think Ralph from beginning to end was a really well written character, and I think this was and I didn't notice it. Like I hated him all up until this point. I was like, I hate this character on screen. And then he had this scene where Ralph wants to kill Thawne. Ralph is not Thawne. The Thinker, right? He wants to kill the Thinker. He's killing all these people. He's going to be up next, and he's like, Barry's like, why do you want to kill him? Like, you know, you would be sacrificing everything you've been working hard to accomplish. And he's like, no, because I don't care about my life. I care about your life. You guys are the only good things that's ever happened to me. I would jump into a burning furnace to save your life. And he names all his new family, and it's like, oh my gosh, like his art, like he's had this arc this entire time, even though we haven't been able to really see it. He's been learning through every episode and his journey. I think that not only is a good arc for Ralph, but I also think that shows the like legacy of the Flash. Like that's what the Flash is he is helping people throughout his journeys. He is the symbol of love and hope, and he is fundamental. Like he saved Ralph's life. Like he really did. He changed Ralph at his core, what he was. And then minutes later, I think it was the same episode, to see him die. Barry failed to save Ralph after hearing all that is so unbelievably heartbreaking. Someone that like an episode earlier hated this guy. I'm just like, bring him back, guys. This is so sad. This is crazy. And I think will forever be one of my favorite scenes in the show. Just not only for Ralph, but for Barry as a character, I think worked very, very well.
Yeah. Well, and I think now that I'm watching season 2 and getting the memories back, he is very similar to Wally early on, because Wally was kind of an ass early on.
Yeah.
But of course, it's kind of if it was him because he was watching his mother pass, so he kind of gets a pass. But still, I mean, but like Ralph at the beginning was a jerk, and then at the end he was one of the best. I think like the best character, maybe besides Barry and Cisco, because Cisco's always been my favorite. But and wasn't he? I heard before. I'm not sure if this is, wasn't he actually supposed to die when the Thinker kills him? He was originally supposed to die, but then because everybody loved him, so they brought him back.
I'm not sure. I hadn't heard that. I know that he died pre-Flashpoint, right? Like he was part of.
He was
that died in the particle accelerator. I know that, but I don't know. I don't know if they would have had enough time for people to love him, like from writing the show.
That's what I mean.
Them.
I mean, I have heard that a lot of shows, like
Breaking Bad, and
Lost, like a lot of times they would change writing, on the spot when filming. So
100%,
I think it's possible him being in season 5 might have been because of reception, but I don't know if they could have changed it in season 4.
I don't know if they would have had enough time. And like he's also one of the rare occasions where like most of the Flash cast kind of, in my opinion, as much as I love those actors, like they stay so long that they like, I think the show kind of drains every ounce of like anything they had by the end of the show. Ralph never got that chance. Like he was here 3 years. He was great every season, in my opinion, and then he left, which is what I think they should have done more of. I think Caitlin should have been one of, as much as I love Caitlin, like by the end there was nothing left to the point they killed her in the worst way possible. I don't know, like that's I think an issue a lot of these shows sometimes can run into, but no, I adored the scene. I do kind of wish maybe they would have recasted Ralph for maybe at least one final season.
I thought they were going to. Remember when he came back with the face regenerator thing? I was like, oh, well, they're bringing him back in like a few episodes. And it'll be a different actor. Nope. Guess not.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of torn on it because like a new actor would have faced criticism.
Yeah.
Because Hartley was so good in the role.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of thinking about it. I would have rather had it. If you could have found an actor that maybe like what movies will do a lot of times, and I would assume it's the way with TV shows, is if the main actor can't do it, you go with the runner-up who auditioned or was supposed to get would have got the role if it wasn't for the other guy. So I
remember when this whole thing was happening, everyone was like, get Jim Carrey to play Ralph. Like, Jim Carrey is not.
Yeah,
Jim Carrey's not going to go play the Ralph.
He's got too many Robotnik movies to make.
He would have been too old.
That would have been really funny.
Like, that would have changed him by 30 years.
Like, I do think it's very funny though, because like Ralph is like the one character where he can literally shapeshift. You could have just got someone else. Like even if it was just like for like one episode, like their like Daft Punk mask thing that they did to write him off was one of the dumbest things the show has ever done.
Yeah.
Like have an actor come in for one episode to be like, hey guys, I'm running from the cops and I gotta go hide with Sue. And there they go.
Brought
like
Sue back a few times, but not Ralph.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, I feel bad for her because she was supposed to be like a series regular going into the next season. Like she got dafted because of what happened with him.
Apparently, her and Natalie Dreyfus and Hartley Zoyer were like best friends since high school in real life.
Oh wow.
Okay. So I'm sure she was also maybe a reason like she was also kind of upset was because what happened to him because they were best friends. But so who knows? Yeah,
that's understandable.
Or best friends. Yeah.
All right, Flash Freak. This one up next, and you said Barry and Joe, and you said all scenes, and I was like, that's so valid of you. That is because every time a Joe West speech comes on, like as mad as I am about the show, or like I'll if I'm ever disliking, I'm like, yep, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Joe West has all my love. Now, do you have one that like you would like to talk about, or do you just want to talk about just like them as a whole?
So I actually have two.
Okay.
So one of them from season 1 is when Joe comes in. What's it, third episode? I forget which one in particular, but he goes, and I know you're not. I'm not your father. And Barry goes, no, you're not. You're just the one who kept me fed, kept me clothed, and stayed on my bed at night until I went to sleep because I was afraid of the dark. Sounds a lot like a dad to me.
Yeah.
And then the second one was actually in season 6 when he had to go die in crisis. They were outside and Joe was crying, saying he can't lose him. That's probably my favorite Joe scene, or Joe and Barry scene.
No,
Good
that's
scenes.
amazing.
Those are really good scenes.
There again, Joe's one of those characters where again they really lost track of what to do with him later on, but like even then I always just liked him for his like one episode pep talk or like his one episode speak. That I think I watched the like Christmas episode a couple months 2 months ago, and like there's a scene that he says the world might need the Flash, but I need my very own. I was like,
oh yeah,
right. All right, I'm gonna cry now. Like every scene is just so good with him. Like I don't think Joe West has ever had a bad scene in the Flash. Like I'm trying to think back if there was anything bad they did with him. Again, even if the season was bad, I always thought that like he did well, and I'm so happy that he has like his own series now that he can really get room to play, because he didn't get a lot of room to play.
Again, especially the later season.
Yeah,
and I will
like
say
application sort of thing.
I will say I'm surprised, and I was thinking about it, that out of all the actors, he's the one he stayed till the end.
Yeah,
I thought he would have maybe left like a couple seasons in, because like
his back,
because he was
that big injury.
Well, not even that, just because, but that was surprising too. But just because he was always the older one, and maybe and the more well-known actors they got of all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, CW normally does that as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm also just glad that they didn't kill him off, because I think that would have been such an easy choice for them.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The like father figure. Oh, how do we make our villain feel, threatening? Oh, let's kill his father again. Do that. Like you did that with Nora. You did that with Irish. It's such an easy choice to be like, oh, he's leaving the show. Let's have Killbot Blue kill him out.
Zoom shows up again.
Yeah, I thought Joe was going to be killed off.
I'm really happy that. I mean, I guess it kind of did with the Armageddon arc, but like.
Yeah.
That worked, because I thought that was really cool, where it's like
that was such a great
Barry's
moment.
like, what's going on here? It's like, where's Joe? And everybody's like, Barry, you can't talk about Joe like that. And he's like, where's Joe?
That was the most shocked I had been in a while. Yeah. I was like, holy shit.
Like putting the pieces together of like, wait, this isn't the right timeline was crazy good.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, see, I just assumed he was dead in Armageddon Part 1 when Chester said something, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Cecile." When he mentioned Joe, I just assumed something happened.
Yeah,
like either he died or maybe he cheated on Cecile and ran off or something.
Oh my gosh. Joe, no!
Changing things up.
Oh yeah, okay, that
was a villain. Joe was Savitar.
Evil Joe. Joe's just the villain of the season.
Well, there was that meme where. It was after season 5 where it was like, oh, Wally got speed, now Iris got speed, what's next? And then it was Joe's face edited on the Flash, and it goes red Joe.
There was that scene, I think it was episode 10, where like Cobalt Blue takes over Joe's body. I was like, is Joe going to have a speedster fight?
He was really great.
I was like, this is insane.
I would have loved the speedster Joe. That would have been funny.
Just one episode. That would have been sick.
I don't know if Jesse L. Martin would have wanted that though, because he would have. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he can move like that anymore.
No, you would have had to get like a stunt double for him for sure.
I just thought he acted that really well. Like he acted like an evil Joe. Super cool. Well, I guess Cobalt Blue.
Yeah. All right, we're in our final 3. We're actually making our time quite well today. I thought we might go over. But we have Barry time travels for the first time. And I think this is another one that maybe either 2 of us had or all 3 of us had.
Yeah, I think I had this one.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my favorite episode of the whole show. I think I think this is just like one after another. But for the whole episode, it's just the whole thing of like each moment, like there's 5 moments from this episode alone I could pick, and it would be like in my top 5. It's absolutely amazing. Connor, do you want to get us started on this one?
I just think it's a huge milestone for the character, like
Yeah.
for Barry to learn how to time travel. But it's the there's sort of a mystery around it as well. Like the episode sort of plays it like we need to figure out what happened and how Barry got to that point, because at the beginning of the episode where he sees the mirage of himself, and it's like
Yeah.
as the episode leads up to that, it's like you kind of know what they're heading towards and what this is going to be, but the episode just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier as everything goes on, that by the time this happens, you're like, now I see exactly how everything makes sense. Now I see exactly what the beginning of the episode teased. And I think that everything in this scene is great. Like where Barry sort of, he kisses Iris and then he's like, all right, gotta go. And he just turns into the Flash right there in front of her, speeds off to try and stop to save the city, and then just everything just getting worse and worse and worse. And during all this, you had like Cisco and the Wells stuff happening as well. It's just it's a crazy good scene, and I think it's a must for the character, it's a must for the show. It's definitely one of the best episodes in the entire show. I think season 1 had already been hitting it out of the park pretty consistently for the season, but this was the first episode that I was like, I think this was the first episode that made me say this is on par with my favorite episodes from Arrow. Like this is up there.
100%. Yeah. No, I mean, you know, like obviously him time traveling was great, but like even the prior stuff with like Cisco and Wells, I think.
Yeah.
I would argue that's single-handedly the best moment from the show is like Cisco finding out about Wells, and that like the dialogue with those two characters, and it's like, I hate to do this, but like, you know, like I always thought of you as a son, and Cisco slowly, and I think Cisco being the first one to like figure it out is so valid of him as well, and I think that puts him, and Cisco dying, like they killed him off, is insane. And then obviously you, sorry.
Oh no,
go ahead.
You can finish.
Okay, no, and then also you have like the Joe stuff. Like Joe's about to die there as well. Like Joe would have probably got killed in that scene if Barry would not have time traveled. And again, like just him time travel for the first time is such a great like ending to like an episode. Just like I don't know if there was like a break with an episode or anything, but like that was like such a good like. I need to tune in next week. Like this is insane. Like, what's happening?
Well, when I first saw this, I thought Cisco, because this is when Cisco became my favorite character. I thought he was gonna die, and I was gonna quit watching. I was like, no, I'm done. If they kill him, I'm done. Now who knows? I probably wouldn't have actually stopped watching, but but I was like so mad, and then he said it, and I was like, oh, good.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if they just killed him off there? Like they didn't change it at all. Like that would have been
a crazy change for the show. Like that's a direction even Arrow never went in.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. That's some the 100 stuff. Where like, this is your main character. Oh no, they're not. 3 episodes in, they're dead. Screw you guys. Like they were like, and like some Game of Thrones would do the same.
Yeah,
thing.
I heard that
they're
was
your characters.
Game. I heard like nobody survives in that show. Go get attached to anyone.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I think you had tricked me with a Ned Stark where it's like, oh no, they actually don't kill him and they show him in like the next season. I was like, oh cool, okay, I'm glad. And
it's like it was a stunt.
The next episode, I was like, what the hell, man? You lied to me.
But isn't Jon Snow the only one that actually lives the whole time because he dies and comes back?
There's a couple that live, but they kill off.
There's some surprising ones that make it through the whole thing.
Or characters that they don't kill off, they kind of ruin for a lot of people. So may as well kill them off, I guess, or kill off their souls, I guess. Alrighty, our next one is another one of my picks, and that's Zoom kills Henry in front of Barry. This is another one of those moments, just like very similar to like Cisco, I guess, as well. Kind of ending of the episode, killing off someone very close to Barry, and this hurt, I think, so well just because of what they did with Henry. Like you spent all of season 1 getting him out of prison. You get him out, that feels great. In the beginning of season 2, they're like, I'm leaving. I was just like, what do you mean you're leaving? You just got back. That's my only thing with season 2 is I kind of wish we got to have him for a little bit.
But to be fair, John Wesley Shipp probably didn't want to be like a regular or anything, so I get it. So,
I get that. Yeah. But no, that scene, again, that's like one of those moments that's just imprinted in my mind. Barry's, I don't have the photo here, but him screaming at the top of his lungs, no! Like that sequence is, again, Grant Gustin can act. No, he can.
I know. I was about to bring that up. This is another one where it's like TV actor my ass.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, he's, and like everyone in the scene, and like Jay's, you're going to become just like me, and shoves it through. It's so good. The writing in that scene is so good. I think like that's one of my favorite like speeds. I don't think it happens at this episode, but the following episode, where like that speedster fight, Barry being very close to killing Jay in that moment because he's so angry. He's like, yes, do it, Barry. Like I think it paves the way of Zoom being like one of the best villains. Like Thawne killing Nora was like it's a big thing, but also we don't really get to see it in real time. Like it happens like kind of in the behind the things. Where this is happening in real time with our characters. I think this is like the most insane like death in the show. I'd argue one of the most saddest deaths within the show. So yeah,
It's probably
I had to put the fun on here. Is it? Yeah.
Well, no,
yeah.
Sorry, Nora. Yeah, Nora would be first, and then this.
Yeah, but like even Nora again, like it's like we're going back to see it happen. Like she was already dead prior to that. That moment. Is true. Where this is like, oh no, we just killed off a character. Like it's, oh my gosh, no, it's a great moment. I think it's one of the show's best. For sure. Do we have any final thoughts on this that you want to add?
I think it works. I mean, I think it's a really good way to get us into the final of the season. It's sad. It definitely would have been great to see more of the character throughout the season, but I think it just as a moment like it lands really well, and they made us hate Zoom just a little bit more before the final came about.
Yeah.
And I also will say, I think this scene right here is what kicks off the darkness that the show would have in season 3.
Yeah.
From this point on is when, because from Runaway Dinosaur, he actually thought he was at peace with his mother's death, but then this happened, and then he goes and creates Flashpoint.
Yeah. And there's like a really nice parallel that I didn't really think of until the final season of Flash when we had both Zoom and Savitar, but like season 3, I guess if you again they don't really spend much time on it, but like is Zoom's whole thing is like bringing out the like darkness in Barry and bringing out the evil that's inside of him, and that's what Savitar is like an evil Barry. It like it is a Barry that does accept his darkness and lets it feed through him. And that's a great parallel if they would have actually like shown it. Like I don't even think it's a thing maybe they even thought of in that time. But like if you like thread the links, like that would actually make for a really good story in season 3, and about him continuing to not let that darkness fill him, even if Iris dies, he can't let that consume him. So I don't know. Maybe stuff from season 3.
Well, yeah. Now that you say that, now thinking about it, I wish we had more of a conversation in season 9 between all the villains when Savitar showed up.
Yeah, that would have been great.
But yeah, like Zoom could have made a comment, like, because I always wondered, like, if Zoom or Reverse Flash even came back. I mean, it was always a question with Reverse Flash, but now even like if Zoom ever came back, would they actually be like on the same team as Savitar, or would Savitar still hate them for what they did?
I really wish, and again, I don't know how much of this was their fault on the budget and stuff like that, but like I wish that was the final arc. Like I wish they could have explored more of this team for the final bit of the show, because there's so much back and forth. And like I know that there was stuff with like Savitar that was cut from the final episode due to Grant having COVID, which then I say maybe you should pause filming, but like that's
they didn't have didn't want if Next Star wasn't Star wasn't a thing, then they would have just stopped filming.
They should have.
That's another combo for sure. But I think the scene's great. I think it's one of the best from the show. And our last scene here, this one's also mine. I guess I put 3 in a row that were mine. So sorry. And that's just enter Flash time. The final episode. I was like, I don't know if this is in my top 5 moments, but like I was going through all of our moments. Like no one picked Flash time. I should throw in Flash time because I do think that is regarded as one of the greatest episodes of The Flash, and one of the best things. Like when looking back at the show, like everyone mentions, but Flash time, that like one time in season 4, it was pretty good. And I think that this is such an episode. Like again, isolated from season 4. I actually like season 4 now, kind of looking back at what it all became. But like looking at this episode and then the rest of season 4, there is this is such a standout for that season. And it's such
big quality difference.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the closest time we ever get like a Flash family team up. We have Barry and Jesse and Jay Garrick. Like if we just had Kid Flash there, man, we have the whole crew. And there was something I think really special about like a stressful Barry and like the whole episode taking place in these couple seconds. And Barry happening to be smart in this episode and figure things out without his team. Like he goes to each of them separately and be like, how do I do this? How do I do this? He gets this piece from them and this piece from them and this piece from Harry, and like slowly seeing Jesse and Jay have to fade out and Barry being the only one left. And if he fails here, they're all just dead. And I think that's really cool.
It's insane.
Yeah, really good stuff. And then just that like final sequence of him like running on the cars and throwing the thing, I think is one of the most iconic scenes from the show. Like that's just like next level stuff.
One of my favorite things, like little like trivia bits about this episode, is that the villains of this episode are the people who kill Oliver Queen in the comics.
Oh.
Yeah.
He brings it back to Arrow, everyone.
Sorry. I'll stop.
No, I'm kidding. I love it. Flash Freak, do you have any final thoughts on this?
I will say, this is the type of filler that Eric Wallace should have done.
Yep.
Absolutely. This is it doesn't fit into the season at all. The season 4, but it is great. It's one of the best episodes of The Flash. Best Speed Force episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only issue I have with this episode is just the fact that I do think it's like you can't think about this episode too much, because then every episode you're like, wait, why doesn't he use Flash Time to beat literally any villain he will ever have to face after?
He uses twice after this, and that's it.
Yeah. It's like, Barry, you could be using this for any non-speedster villain.
I mean, to be fair, you could say that for a lot of Flasher, but
a lot of things.
He's just so overpowered.
100%. And I don't blame the writers.
I was just thinking, like, when they had that Turtle episode,
in
season 2, I was like, the current Flash Turtle probably can't even affect that much because he's so quick.
Seeing his, how he's grown over the years. Is definitely a lot of fun. Alrighty, that's all I have here. Is there any moments that we haven't talked about today that like you're like really itching to talk about? Like, I didn't make this on my list, but I do have strong feelings for them.
I feel like anything that I really love was kind of covered throughout everybody's picks here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, again, there's so many moments. There's great moments. I mean, Armageddon as a whole has so many. I mean, there's like the Golden Boots moment that really stands out to me.
Jefferson Barry stuff in that episode.
Jefferson Barry stuff in Armageddon was so good. We didn't mention any of the like Bloodwork stuff, and like his arc in season 6 is some incredible stuff. Like the Dark Flash stuff. Grant's having a lot of fun playing there. There's that sequence where like he's like, there's the Speed Force, and then there's like the black there's like the like Bloodwork, and he's like in between, and it takes him over. Like that's some great stuff. So many stuff from crossovers I could bring up. The like Jefferson stuff and Jake Garrick stuff. There's so many stuff I could pull in here and say I love, because I think I've dogged on the show a bit in this stream, but like I genuinely do love this show. Like I it is one of my favorite shows. All of season 1 is just some of my, like, that's my favorite season of like TV ever. Like I love that first season so much. So Flash Freak, do you have any kind of final ones?
I do not. However, I do have a question.
Oh, okay.
If the Flash died, would they have to bury Alan?
Oh.
Oof.
Oh no.
Oof.
I'll be here all week.
You deserve.
You have failed this city.
End it with Oliver himself after 4 years of being over. Alrighty, that does give us towards the end of our stream here. I want to give a big thank you to our co-host Connor and Mr. Flash Freak himself. It was great to finally have you on. I waited way too long to have you on here.
So thank you for helping me.
Of course. You're always welcome. All right. Flash Freak, starting with you, where can people find you? Where, and kind of like promo stuff that you want to give people.
So on my little board below, you can see my Twitter and Instagram is Daniel Tinley VO. I do have a YouTube, but I'm not really posting on there just yet. But I am thinking of doing something later this year. So definitely watch out for that.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Connor, are you working on anything?
YouTube and Twitter. YouTube wise, something will be out. Probably. Maybe. We'll see.
At sometime in the future.
Sometime at a to be determined date. We'll see.
Maybe tomorrow, maybe in 10 years. We'll see.
Who knows?
Alrighty. As far as me, anything I do want to say again, thank you for our past stream over the last week. That's our most viewed stream ever. I do, really want to thank everyone who tuned in, all the guys I had over there. They were really great. That was such a fun thing that we got to do. I also want to promo, we have been posting over on our second channel, basically all of our clips and segments from our 2 live shows that I'm posting over there. So if you just want like snippets of what we talk about over here, go over there. You can just see our reviews of just like, I don't know, like our thoughts on Despicable Me 4. You can just watch that and a solo little thing and you'll be good to go. And then we should be back next week with our Valentine's Day themed episode. I'm very excited to maybe talk about some ships. Maybe that could be kind of fun. But again, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for this crew for being here. And without further ado, I will see y'all on the flip side. Bye bye.